My name is Eniwa Boachi. I'm from Streatham, which is southwest London.
Anthony Mark Barrett, and originally I am from Birmingham.
My name is Portia Bartley and I am from Croydon, which is in South London.
Hello, my name is Alexander Gabriel Adjawan and I'm from London. To be exact, I'm from North London, in a small town called Barnet.
My name is Chris Saki and I'm from London, Brixton.
Great. So, tell me about your acting experience in the UK.
Well, it's where I started acting, where I found out I wanted to become an actor.
I mean, I had a great acting experience in terms of theatrically, but I must admit I felt very frustrated in the UK.
And primarily, I had a good career in the UK, but like many other actors, you tend to reach a glass ceiling where you want more work, you want the work to be more demanding, more challenging.
My acting experience in the UK is limited. I actually broke out of my shell and did my acting training not long after I moved to America in 2010, so I kind of did it backwards, if you will.
I went straight from school to the US, so it was slightly different. I went to the Brit School Performing Arts School from 14 to the age of, I believe it was 18, 19, and I came straight over to the US.
I do feel like the UK has a very elitist way of looking at the acting industry.
There is a very strong classical foundation, but just from doing my own research, it didn't seem like they had a lot to offer for those young actors who were doing those contemporary roles and who wanted to do something more than classical.
I kind of felt like because I didn't go to Oxford or RAD or any of those kind of things, I always found it quite hard to kind of break through in the UK as opposed to here, where people are willing to take a risk.
I wasn't finding that the roles were forthcoming, so fate would have me apply for an O1, end up in America, here in California.
I wanted to be somewhere, I wanted a cultural difference, I wanted to still be in the realms of like acting.
And since I've been here, I've been going up for roles as like the sexy girlfriend, the lawyer, the doctor.
I've had an amazing experience. I've had so many opportunities, and I don't know whether it's just because when I decided to come out to the States, I really put my head down in terms of my parents and myself. We were really funding this, like no one else was helping us. I had to do this by myself. So I don't know if that made me just so much more serious and so much more hungry.
It's been pretty fun. I've been able to just be myself, and bring my acting out of it.
You go from these very restricting, like elite roles where they really want a specific kind of person in the UK to having roles where they just want me to be myself.
Yes, I would definitely say I was attracted to come here for that reason, because there is a lot of opportunities, but also, I know this is going to sound really corny, but there is such a thing as an American dream.
The whole point of Get Out was to create universal themes. It's not, why are you casting the Brits over us? If they were right for the role, they were right for look how well the film did.
I don't know whether we'd be having this conversation had Samuel never found out that Daniel was a Brit.
I think if you even go back to my role model Idris, when he was doing The Wire, Samuel Jackson had nothing to say about him.
I mean, if you watch the film as a whole and take it in the context of just watching a piece of art, you would never know that he was English. I think possibly Samuel's reacting after the fact.
I feel like he needs to understand what actually happens across the world. It's not just in America.
I kind of felt like, fair enough, he felt threatened enough to make a comment like that, but he has no understanding of the Black British experience.
I've lived with African Americans here, and you tend to realize there's similarities in growing up, childhood. The only difference is you're in a different country.
I think that's the main reason it was disappointing to me, because if you were to look at what Samuel Jackson said on paper, there are bits and pieces of it that would have easily made you think that a white person said those comments. It wouldn't be acceptable for a white person to turn to someone who's African American in present day and be like, oh, well, you personally weren't a slave, like you didn't have to pick cotton, so you have it easy, and let me explain to you how I don't think you know racism and how in this moment I seem to know your history better than you do.
Since I've been here, I've encountered a lot of African Americans who disregard my experiences because I don't have the same ancestral history as they do. So they would say that I don't understand their struggle and all of this kind of stuff. And to be honest, I think as a black person who is in a Western environment, you're always going to encounter some kind of struggle.
We don't want to create a system where amongst the spectrum of black people, African Americans on top and any other black person who's not American just has to be quiet and be complacent, that their voices aren't being as equally heard. And in the same way, when I create things, I'm not trying to make Black Brits on top.
The remedy here is to be open and to listen to each person's story. The things that I go through on a daily basis are clearly very different to someone who's naturally born here. But because they're naturally born here doesn't necessarily mean that I should disregard their experiences as a black person in America.
I want to bring in all black people, regardless of where they're from, because there are nuances about their experience that I don't know about, but I do want to learn.
We need to be open, we need to listen to each other's stories and learn from it and find ways to kind of like create a pathway where we're both trying to create the same kind of outcome, which is to provide more roles for people of colour.
I think it's quite simple. I think we need more black writers, more black filmmakers, but also just stories that are relatable.
Entertainers in America spending more time focusing on those experiences happening in other countries, and that could start to close the divide, you know, so there's more of empathy happening. Come from maybe not just stereotyping roles. Stereotyping roles is a big thing I've started to even see myself from going out on auditions, is going out for a certain figurine more than an actual human being.
But ultimately we're storytellers, and I want to concentrate on work that's character driven, and if race happens to play a part of it, great. If it doesn't, I'm equally adept at taking on that role as well.
We're definitely on the right track to making it a better ensemble piece. Doesn't matter where you're from. It should be more concerned about your talent and what can you bring to the role, you know?
Someone speaking about their experiences, it shouldn't make you offended. And if it does, you really need to question the extent in which you're here for all people and the diversity. And if that, to you, if diversity really means including everyone.
I want it to be something where I just want us to all work together.
Right.
That's all I want. Like, I just want us all to work together.